You said you went ahead and quit your career, 13-year career as an IT because of TikTok.
I waited months before I quit. And in those months that I waited, I was making my yearly salary every single month. If I broke my salary up into months, I was making my monthly salary in a day. I was on the higher end of that with my salary and stuff, but I was still like, I don't want to sit here and work 60 plus hours a week and miss my family.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Social Army Podcast. I've got a pretty unique guest on with us today, somebody that I've been chatting back and forth with for quite some time. We used to share our earnings with each other on TikTok back before we even started Social Army, so it's pretty exciting to be able to interview him. He is massive in the health and wellness side of things, and for a long time evaded TikTok's dreaded violation system that they have going on that is so horribly broken. But I've got him here today, and I'm excited to bring him on. He's done over $2 million in total GMV, which is just absolutely incredible. And his name is Josh, by the way. And without any further delay, here he is. Josh, if you'd like to introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, Josh, my last name's Farmer. My handle's Farmer Boy. And like Bryce said, I have done over $2.5 million in GMV alone, just myself from my accounts. That's not including the models that I hire full-time. I have a whole business around this now, Farmer Goods LLC. We hire models, pay them a base salary, and have them create content for us. They deliver 3 videos a day, and they get a base salary. So I own the accounts, profits, everything. And also doesn't include my wife, who is averaging 20 to 30K a month in profit, not GMV, as well. We've both quit our careers that we've pursued. Mine was a 14 year career in IT, and she had been doing 9 years in as a my brain just went blank. Yeah. She was a foster case manager, so she like social work. I wanted to say social work, but it was a little different. She provided resources for foster families. So
That's good. That's really good.
yeah, so we both quit full time, and we've been doing TikTok Shop ever since as one of our main sources of income now.
Yeah, TikTok Shop is extremely profitable. And you just said some things that have really piqued my interest, man. The whole model thing. We'll dive more into that later on, but that's really interesting. And I'm sure a lot of people would not a lot of people have done that. I think you're maybe one of the only people that is actually dabbling in that side of things, which is pretty cool. So we'll touch base on that a little bit later on. But you said you went ahead and quit your career, 13-year career as an IT because of TikTok. So obviously, any sort of careers in IT, I mean, that has some sort of a high base salary generally, right? I mean, it was a pretty high income job. For you to be able to quit that is quite a feat all on its own. Was it a scary situation when you did that?
Yeah, and we talked about this. Like I waited months before I quit, and in those months that I waited, I was making my yearly salary every single month.
Which is so crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
So I was making, my monthly if I broke my salary up into months, I was making my monthly salary in a day, know. And so we still do that every now and then. We'll still make our monthly salaries in a single day, which is absolutely mind blowing. And like I said, it took me a while before I actually quit, even though we were making that kind of money, just because I wanted to make sure this wasn't some kind of one and done thing,
right?
And that it was sustainable, and I wasn't burning any bridges. And I actually gave my company a full month's notice.
I remember that. I remember when you and I were talking about that, when you officially gave them that notice, and even then they didn't want to get rid of you, or let you go rather.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they pretty much just told me, like, we would rather keep you on and you just work a couple hours a day than let you go and have to replace you. And I was like, I did that. I actually canceled that notice and did that for another 2 or 3 weeks before I was like, it's not worth it,
Right. I'm
especially
losing
when you're
money
making
so much.
Yeah, I'm losing money by not pursuing TikTok and hammering down,
Right.
and growing more accounts and posting more videos. Like, so that all kind of happened really quickly though, and it's been a wild ride since.
Oh, I'm sure. That was one of the biggest things for me was when I quit my job. I had to really put into perspective. I was losing more money by continuing my employment versus just terminating the employment that I had and pursuing this full time. Because you know, at the end of the day, it's the time that you put into this that really drives that income. So,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
what was one of the first, reasons you got into TikTok Shop? How did you even discover this? I mean, were you already big on TikTok? Were you a creator? What piqued your interest?
Yeah, so back in when COVID hit, I had decided to start poking at some drop shipping things, Facebook
Okay.
advertising, and anybody that's in that space knows that if you didn't get in Facebook ads around like 2015, 2016, like it's a hard game.
Yep.
And so had a lot of failure there, wasted a lot of money on mentor classes, coaching, people that promise fake things and didn't deliver. I mean, I put myself and my family into debt into those courses, unfortunately, and I was grinding, uh, drop shipping at first, and then I pivoted after a year or so of that into digital marketing, or no, actually FBA. I tried FBA first,
Oh,
fulfilled
FBA is
by
a hard
Amazon.
one. Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
hard one.
very hard one. And then I tried FBM as well. Again, just wasn't my strong point, and I didn't personally like going to shop in front of people in stores and try to resell it and for such a low profit. So
Right, right.
I couldn't bring myself to really pursue that full time. I jumped into the whole digital marketing craze, the master resale rights, the things like that, where you bought a course, got the rights to resell it, and that course taught other people how to make money, quote unquote, but really it was just a course to sell a course to sell a course at the end of the day. And
You
so,
almost get to that MLM feel with that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
it's exactly like, yeah, you get the rights to the course and just resell the course.
Yeah.
And I had created some little ebooks and stuff, and I made a little bit of money from that.
Sure.
And by a little bit, I was maybe making $400 or $500 extra a month. So nothing substantial, nothing
Right.
job quitting, nothing like that. And so did that. A lot of failure there, and over the years, and when I'm saying I grinded it, I was working my normal job, coming home, spending an hour and a half, 2 hours with my family, and then I was working on the digital marketing stuff until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Wake up the next morning and repeat it. Like I sacrificed so much time with my family, so much time with my kids, just trying to find a way to survive out here because things were getting tighter and tighter, and it was harder and harder to live, and be able to not just tread water, but actually be above the water.
Sure.
So I did that, and I called it, this is what my family needs from me right now. I have to figure out something to spend more time with my family, and in that time I was sacrificing the very thing that I was working for. You know what I mean? And so,
I mean, you're right. Sacrificing the very thing you're working for. When you sacrifice too much of it, it becomes a question: is it really worth it to keep looking for it?
yeah.
And that's time.
And I was doing that. I mean, I was doing that, building funnels, email capture, email campaigns, SMS campaigns. I was doing all that, and I got really good at it.
Sure.
I'd even had some bigger creators that had more success than me start to hire me, pay good money to build out their funnels and automations. And, I was in IT, so all that stuff just really clicked easy with me.
Right.
And so I was doing that up until January of 2024. And
So almost 4 years of really just digging to try to
Yeah.
figure out a way out, basically,
Something.
or something to help, right?
Yeah.
Golly.
yeah, and now that I look back at it, and my wife even said this, she's like, you've had a lot of failure in that, but it's the only reason you really succeeded so fast as you did on TikTok Shop.
Yep.
And that made it put into perspective. It was like, okay, you're right. I learned each step of the way what was working on social media, what was not working, and even though I didn't never exploded or went crazy big or anything like that, I had grown an Instagram to like 20,000 followers and had some success there, but I could never get TikTok to work. Like I didn't even that account didn't even get posted on like
Right.
ever, so January-ish, I around February 13th, or from January to February, I started researching TikTok Shop, getting
Mm-hmm.
some information on it, and February 13th, I posted my first video. And from February 13th into the February, which is kind of a short month, I did a little over 6 grand in profit. And
Right.
so I told my wife, I was like, holy crap, this is like something that absolutely has potential. I've been grinding all these other things for 4 years now, and I've seen more success in just the last 2 weeks than I have. We kind of just thought that it was, a we just kind of thought it was a fluke, or
Right.
this was an off month or something like that. And so now I don't know about religion and all that, but December, my mother, who adopted me when I was 12, was in a
Mm-hmm.
very, very bad car wreck,
Oh,
and she was life flighted to the ER and wasn't expected to live, and it forced my father into an early retirement, and to the point where he wasn't able to survive monetarily either.
sure, sure.
And my mom was not waking up. She was there but not there, and
Right.
so um, I was one day I was sitting in church, and I just felt like something tell me that everything's going to be all right, and that we were about to receive a blessing that we couldn't contain. And
Sure.
I told my wife that later that day, those exact words. I said, I really feel like everything's going to be okay, and there's going to be some kind of way that's going to open up for me to take care of my adopted parents, because
Sure.
they took care of me when they had no resources to. And so,
Right.
sure enough, later that week, we were doing like 7K days out of nowhere, and it was literally like everything just kind of lined up, and the floodgates just kind of opened. And so ever since then, we've been full force on it. I mean, we've been going nonstop. We've been traveling. The summer with the kids we're out. We have two young kids, and so
I bet
the
they got to
summers.
experience some really fun things too, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah, and we've got even more.
Right.
Like in 2 weeks, I have a brand sending me to Hawaii for 2 weeks. So we're going to be in Hawaii filming TikTok shop content, on a brand's dime. So that's also awesome and
That's
exciting.
amazing. And this has
So
all happened in 8 short months. I mean, really, not even 6 short months. At the end
yeah,
of the day, I mean, you started February 13th, which I didn't realize you and I had started posting so close to each other. I started posting on the 22nd, or really, that's when like I really took it seriously. And
yeah,
um, which makes sense because I remember you and I would comment back and forth to each other. I'd be live, you tell me, "Hey, I made this today," or "I made this month,"
yeah,
and that was great to see. Which was crazy to me how long it took for us to connect on more of a personal level in that sense. But I always look at things. Everything happens for a reason.
yeah.
But that's incredible. I mean, what it's been able to do, and I take it since is your mom per se, is she in a better place now? Is she back to somewhat of a normal state, or are things still kind of in the way that they were?
No, they're unfortunately they're the same way. She
Same
is
way.
24/7 care.
Mm,
Again, my dad had to retire,
right.
and so he
Oh,
takes care of her full time, but she is home.
oh, that's good.
Um, so that's good, and there's some hope there. It's been
Sure,
very difficult, obviously, but there's some hope there.
sure.
But it's allowed me to completely take care of every need.
Right,
Every
right,
need that they've needed is not even like it's not even a concern. You know what I
right.
mean? No matter how much he needs or how much she needs, it's TikTok Shop has literally like changed our lives in that matter.
That's
So
incredible.
and like you said, in just a few months, it was like I was hurting because I knew not only was my mom in this situation, but now my father's in a situation where he can't he can't work and he can't pay bills,
Right, you can't
and so
provide. It's,
yeah, so it was like now he doesn't have to worry about anything,
oh,
and
that's
he can
incredible.
focus on her 24/7. And he's it's been a very, very hard challenge. That happened literally Christmas Eve of 2023,
Oof.
and when she got into that wreck. And so, um, a lot of that, me continuing on, because January 2024, after grinding for 4 years, I I was at my wit's end. I was
Right.
telling Kayla, my wife, I was like, I can't keep these sleepless nights up. It's killing me. I I had went from my biggest was 340 COVID, or right before COVID. I dropped down to 190, and COVID hit, and I started all of this grinding and digital marketing and just completely put my health aside,
Hmm.
as I did with everything else, my family, because I was so desperate to find a way out and not just be another statistic. You know what
Right,
I mean?
but at the end of the day, you're a provider, and as the
Yeah.
provider for the family, as that, because I bear that weight. I understand exactly how you feel there. I've got 4 kids of my own. My wife, she's always been a stay-at-home mom. She just recently became a nurse, but it's because we had the time to finally allow her to go back to school. And it's not that I was holding her from it or anything of that nature. It's just that we had other, things that we had to take care of. But
Right.
as a provider, your biggest thing is the fear of failure.
Hmm.
And when you fail and fail and fail and fail, it really takes a toll on mental, on physical, on everything else. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been down that path. The only thing I haven't been down is the path of what happened to your mom. But my goodness, it's absolutely incredible what this has been able to do for you. And it's like that break. Everything you were working towards, as they may have not panned out in the way that you wanted them to, is probably for the better, because
Yeah.
now you found something that was explosive, something that does not require nearly the amount of headspace that these other avenues or opportunities per se,
Right.
require. It's just insane.
Yeah, and I was feeling all that pressure from someone who was making over six figures as an engineer. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I can't imagine like what the blue collar and those folks that are really putting in work and just are unfairly paid teachers. There's so
Mm,
many that like they they're not taken care of the way
mm-mm,
they should be. Nurses,
at all.
even like it's and so I was on the higher end of that with my salary and stuff, but I was still like, I know that this is not the life that I want until I'm retired and not able to move. You know what
Right.
I mean? I don't want to sit here and work 60 plus hours a week and miss my family and miss my things, and it's funny because once we quit our jobs, it's like those 4 years that I missed, we made it up in the last 3 months, man. We've
Right,
been
and it's
traveling
amazing what you can
nonstop.
do.
Yeah.
Man, when you claim that time freedom back, it's
Yeah.
it's insane. And it's crazy too, thinking what just an extra couple of hours in the day can give to you and your family, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, when you're working 60 hours a week and you're also trying to make something else work alongside those 2 hours in the evenings, I mean, hell, it takes an hour to cook dinner, an
Right.
hour to get kids ready for bed. Where else are you going to spend the time? You can't
Yeah.
watch a movie. You can't sit on the couch and have your
Right.
kids lay with you. You can't do any of that. You got to pick and choose what you're able to do, and then weekends are even worse.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, it's funny that you said that because today I actually filmed a video that I was explaining like now that we have our time back and we're making money, and I don't want to say passively because none of this is passive, but
Well, to
you
an
know,
extent, it is.
yeah, yeah, to an extent, we're reaping work that we put in a couple months ago,
Right.
right? And so that's what I mean by passive. Like
Right.
I'm not making money off the videos I filmed today. I'm making money off the videos I filmed two
Months.
months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but now that that's happening, I filmed a video this morning, and it's like this is the possibility of getting your time freedom back with TikTok Shop or whatever the case may be. Is like we are now, me and my wife are both now prioritizing our health. Like we hired a personal trainer. We're meeting with them 3 times a week for the next 6 months, and I have money investment into that, so it's keeping me accountable because I spent a lot of money for that, and so that wouldn't have been possible without TikTok Shop. So now
Right.
my Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays are I take the kids to school with my wife. We get to have a nice family time to the school. We may go eat breakfast before school,
Mm,
and then me and my wife together are going to the gym together and doing and prioritizing our health
right.
together. And there's two things to that. There's the first thing, I would have never been able to do this if I didn't have my time freedom from my 9 to 5, right? Like a 9 to 5 would not let me go to the gym on a Monday, for an hour. Sometimes if you get lucky, but I would say the majority jobs aren't going to allow that.
Right.
And then the second thing is I would have never been able to afford that. It just would not have ever been in the budget. No matter how much I wanted to prioritize my health, it wouldn't have been in the budget. Because
No.
not only do you have a personal trainer that you have to pay for, but you also have food that you have to consume
Supplements.
that is healthy,
Mm-hmm.
supplements, yes, and that's expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, that's been the biggest thing is like it's just opened up so many different things that we didn't think was possible,
Right. Or within the reach of in your realm of reality at that point. One thing I hate people saying all the time is money can't buy you happiness. Sure. At the end of the day, money cannot single-handedly pay for you to be happy. However, it can pay for the things that help you reach the goal of happiness.
Oh yeah.
Time, healthy foods, healthier foods, because we all know, yes, it's easier to go eat at McDonald's versus going and buying food to make a healthy meal at home because those ingredients cost more money. Why?
Right.
I have no idea. It's just the way that it is. But money can set you on the right path to achieve the happiness you want. I've never in my life been as happy as I am today because we were able to not only create the freedoms that we wanted to create, but we've been able to take our time back. And because of that, this summer, just like you guys, we were able to do things with our family that we've never been able to do before. And I was in the car business, one of the businesses where they don't like to give you time off. Time off is taboo.
Right.
And now that I've claimed time freedom for the last 6 months, I regret working those 10 years. Well, let me take that back. I regret allowing my job to dictate my time freedom over those last 10 years. The
Right.
10 years I was in was great because it gave me a lot of sales experience. Excuse me. But yeah, no, back to that. It's just absolutely insane what having financial freedom can do for your overall well-being.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's not only just happiness too. It's stress, it's anxiety, it's
When was the
not
last time you
having
looked at your bank account and went like, damn, I can't buy this, or damn, how am I going to pay this bill, or damn, is my
right.
phone going to get cut off?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, yeah, I literally went from having to strategically plan out drafts and paying bills to just putting on everything on auto pay.
I just
You
did
know what
that
I
a
mean?
couple of months ago. It was the best feeling, not having to
Yeah,
worry about
and,
it. It's
and you
crazy.
don't have to worry about it,
Yeah.
because yeah, I'm making withdrawals to cover 90% of my bills every single day. You know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those things. I mean, hell, for this setup, I went and paid $1,000 for a camera that I couldn't use right now, but we'll get there. But it wasn't even like it wasn't a thing. It's like, oh, do I have this? Do I not have this? It was just like it's there. Don't worry about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And the coolest part, about being a content creator per se in this field is a lot of the things that we buy to help better what we do, it all becomes a write-off at the end of the year anyway.
Yeah.
That camera, that's 100% a write-off. You don't have to worry too much about it.
Dude, I can't not think of Schitt's Creek.
What do you mean?
Have you ever seen that show, Schitt's Creek? Anybody
no.
that's watched it, the guy was like, "But Dad, it's a write-off," and he's like, "But who's writing it off?" And he's like, "The government." Yeah, but who pays for it? Nobody. It's a write-off. So it was all like a play on words that he didn't
Right.
understand, like what a write-off. It's hilarious. But anyways,
It's not free. You still got to pay for it. It just comes
Yeah.
it comes off your bottom dollar at the beginning of the
right.
year.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the whole taxes and stuff. That's always a big question for people. And
It is.
if you start making insane money, you absolutely get a CPA like we have, and make sure that you're covered. Because it can be
100%.
it could be devastating if not.
Okay. And don't forget, not paying your taxes is a federal crime. You will
Yeah.
go to prison for it. So
Right.
just because you make $100,000 doesn't mean you have $100,000. You still got to give about 34 to 40% of that back.
Yep.
Which sucks, but it is what it is, and that's why you get a CPA and you file accordingly.
Yeah.
But to kind of lead into a few other things here, man. It's incredible how far you've been able to come and the challenges that you faced. Especially over the last 4 years. I've been down that path, but for me, it took 10 years. I went down the path of drop shipping back in 2016, 2017, and then getting into crypto and stocks, and then getting into SaaS and getting into digital marketing, getting into. I've done it all. I've done it all. I've made money here and there, don't get me wrong, but I put myself more in debt than I've made.
Yeah.
My wife and I almost got a divorce over a couple of things that I was doing. Hell, I got scammed out of $5,000. I went down that rabbit hole, and it was all because I was terrified of failing my family. And, I wanted to be able to provide a future for my kids that I just didn't have. I didn't grow up with money. I grew up in California, bouncing from house to house to house because, stability just didn't exist in my life. And now that I've got 4 kids of my own and I'm no longer being subjected to just being raised by a single mother, and it's my wife and me raising our kids, I want to set a different path for them. And TikTok Shop has been able to give that to me. And as it is rapid success, and it's only been really about 6 months since all of this has really come to fruition, it's one of those things where it's now given me a baseline for multiple other things, which leads me into exactly what you're doing with your models. You've done something that I don't think I've seen anybody else done, and it's incredible to hear how you've been able to turn it into more of a business side of things by doing that. So you hire specific models to just create content, kind of like UGC. How do you pay them? Do they get a fixed percentage of the profits, or is it paid by video, or can you dive into that a little bit for me?
Yeah. So I can't take the full credit on this. I did learn this from one other person that had some pretty good success. And I think me and him are probably the only two out there right now that really lean into this a lot. And now this isn't something that you want to jump the gun with and do. I've been kind of commenting here and there that like this scaling strategy is if you're making 30 plus K a month.
Sure.
You don't want to just jump into this and start because we all know like 90% of the people that post on TikTok Shop are not instantly successful.
Right. There's a few of us that have
been.
But
there was a few of us, and I even call myself a unicorn. Like the fact that I made $6,000 from February 13th, the end of February, I'm a unicorn. Like that we don't exist.
Right.
Here and there you'll see one, but other than that, be prepared to invest a month to 2 months of working your time, your blood, sweat, tears without any kind of reward that's what I train my models. That's what I train myself or anybody that I'm teaching is like, you have to get into the mindset that you're going to be putting up time investment. So with the scaling strategy, it's no different. My models get paid even if I don't make money, so it's a bit of an investment on the front end to do this strategy because I'm paying them for a service, which their services provide me 3 videos a day, and you get paid no matter what. So even if their accounts don't perform, they still get paid, until I term the contract or anything like that. So we put them on a 1099, and what we do is we have 2 different business models. I have a newer one, and then the original one that I came up with was I pay them a flat salary per month, and they produce the content.
Okay.
And so I own the account, or the company owns the accounts. I had my lawyers draft up contracts that has all this in details that they have to sign before we onboard them, just to say the company owns all the accounts, the profits, the content, everything.
Right.
And so that just protects us from anyone coming back and saying, well, these are my videos. Well, no, you signed a document saying that the company owns these videos.
Right.
And so on the base salary model, the way it works is the models, they upload their videos every night to a Google Drive. I pull those videos down. I don't have it with me, but I actually have 3 phones with cell service, and our models are logged into those phones. So they're just dedicated. We call them, do you have the model phone? Like that's what I asked my wife.
Right.
And so it's literally only used for posting models. And so the models will upload the videos, we'll take down the videos, we'll edit them in TikTok, and we'll post them, me or my wife. Mainly my wife, if I'm being honest. So, excuse me, that's kind of that business model. So they give me 3 videos a day. I post the accounts. We make sure that they're kind of violation free. They're not saying anything crazy. We provide them with video content. We provide them with, they can copy mine and Kayla's, my wife's videos that are successful.
Right.
And so we kind of teach them everything, like how to do it, what to film, what to say, hooks, call to actions, everything. And so that's one model, one business model.
Okay.
The other one is a profit split, which in the long run is makes them more money if they take this business model, but in the short term, it's no salary base. So
So
it's
it's all what they get out of it, basically.
right. So I'll take so say and I typically like personally I target friends, family, or people that I know that are like single moms or stay-at-home moms that their husbands are working crazy hours to try to think
Right.
like I look for people that it can benefit them, right? And then I target those guys because they can spend a couple of hours and make a lot of money. You know what I
Sure. And
mean?
there's a hunger. I mean, there's
Right.
more of a drive there.
And so the profit split, what I do is it's a 60-40 profit split in their favor. So if they make make 100 grand in a month, they'll take home 60,000 of that. Now, what happens is in that business model though, I still provide the training, the content, the products, accounts, all that, right? Like that's all still provided by the company. And what happens is they they handle the editing and posting.
Okay.
So it's actually it works for us as well on a scaling side because we're not editing and posting. We're allowing them to edit and post. They still have this. They have another contract for that business model. It says the same thing. We own the accounts, the content, the profits, everything. But they handle the editing and posting. So at the end of the day, the company takes 40%. They get 60%. But the company doesn't have to put as much sweat equity in it. Being me and my wife, we don't have to put as much time and effort in it in editing and posting.
That's
So
interesting. Have you had any of those really pop off and have some crazy success?
yeah, yeah, I've had both business models do pretty well.
That's
Um,
good.
you know, I've got a total of 5 models now that are in this full time. Um, one of those models has both the business models, so it's the contracts are per accounts, and so she gets the flat rate, and then she also has another account that she double dips into, so she films multiple videos,
Mm.
that she has the 60-40 split. And so I think we were talking recently, like one of my models pays for all of my salaries for the other models plus some. So,
That's crazy.
and I still profit off of just one,
Right.
So, I've had models that have done 40K in a month, and so it's always up and down as we know, but yeah, it's very profitable, and we're starting to scale that out some more, especially on the profit split. It allows me to kind of be a coach and a mentor and teach people a skill set while also getting a percentage back, you know.
Right. And I think that's the smartest way to do that at that point, because being the coach and the mentor to them, they still get the majority of what they're making, but you're also
Right,
taking a considerable amount back for yourself as well, which makes sense. And
right,
it's all performance based too. It's not like they're
yeah,
forking out $5,000 to be coached by you to not see any results. No, they're forking out the time, and if they listen to you properly and they achieve those results, well, guess what? Both of you guys are rewarded
right,
in more of an equal way, because yes, all the work's being put in by the individual, which is why the 60% makes sense, and then the coaching and mentoring and supply of the account and everything else is all done by you, which makes sense for the 40%. I think that is genius.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think
that's
it's a
crazy.
win-win,
Yeah.
and I haven't had any bickerings or anything so far from that, because again, it's still either business model is typically life-changing for
Sure.
folks.
Sure.
So I have some people that are like, I really need the salary, and so that's what they go with, and so and that's totally fine for us because either way, we're profiting off both business models.
Right, and I just think that that's extremely smart. I mean, the fact that, I mean, at the end of the day, the fact that more people don't do that kind of blows my mind. But at the same time, I feel like it's a little bit more to manage than what most people would want.
Yeah.
And this is still so new too. I mean, you're dealing with violations, which is a whole other story on its own.
Yeah.
But you also have to have the experience with TikTok Shop, I feel like, to really get that to kind of pop off.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and
which
you
is
gotta. I
just,
mean, you have to pay a lawyer. You have to get
yeah,
contracts.
yeah.
There's a lot to it. So I understand, and there's, you know, it takes. I think, and not to sound conceited or anything like that, but I think it takes a different mindset to do something like what I'm
Yeah.
doing with the models than just your normal everyday. Like you have to be able to take risk and take chances and take, those types of things, and not everybody's cut out for that. There's some people that are okay with just making content on TikTok Shop and calling it done, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But
Not everybody's even cut out for that, man. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
it's it's tough.
But I think that for what we're doing, we're enjoying it, and we want to keep branching out into different income streams as much as possible, because who knows with TikTok what's going to go, what's going to happen. Obviously, we try not to stress out about things we can't control. But at the end of the day, like, I still have to protect my family. I'm going to try to do other income streams outside of TikTok now that I have the funds for it. I can go and start and do just about anything I want to. So, and I think we've talked about that too. Like, we've started a Turo business where we
Yeah.
have rental cars, at a major airport near us and stuff like that. That just, each one of those vehicles I pay are a write-off for the business, and we can use those vehicles to generate more income.
Yep.
Even though, and I actually made a video about this with a buddy of mine. So, she was here. I taught her how to do TikTok Shop, and she made like 100 and something thousand in a couple months after she
Is this
stuck
who I'm
with it.
thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's awesome. She just messaged me today, actually. We've been having some
Yeah.
back end problems, but we're going to get her checked out. She's awesome. I love her story. I mean,
Yeah.
she came to the both of us, and then she started mimicking your stuff. And man, watching her blossom from that was awesome.
Yeah, and she almost gave up. And that's
I
the
know.
thing is, like, I kept telling her, I was like, you've got to keep the bigger picture in mind, and just know that, like, things can shift on a dime.
100%.
You just have to be willing to get over this mental battle
100%.
of, and that's why I personally think the mental side of things is why most people will not make it on TikTok Shop.
Right.
It's because of that 1 to 2 months of just grinding nonstop, posting content, learning, growing, and you don't see any income. Like, that is the hardest thing to do. And so I think that's why majority of the people will fail at TikTok Shop, and those that can overcome that mental battleground in their mind are going to be the ones like you and I who just blow it out of the water.
I agree.
And
I agree.
so
Consistency is key with it, man.
yeah, and I'm like, all the money that I've made and everything, I still have accounts and we talked about this earlier, that I've been posting on for a month now, and it's still a mental battle for me who has made this kind of money. It's still a mental battle. Like, because those accounts are taking so freaking long to get going, I'm just like, do I just abandon them and stop? But
Right.
in my mind, I know that if I keep showing up and keep staying consistent, that eventually something's going to click on those accounts. And that's, and that's with someone who's made over $500,000, in profit on TikTok Shop. It's still a mental battle. You know what I mean? So much less the person coming into this that hasn't made a single cent and is showing up every day wondering if their stuff's going to be, if they're on the right path or if they're doing the right things. That's, and that's why Social Army is around, is because you've got people like Bryce and myself in there that know what the challenges are, and know the mindset battles and everything, and we know how to overcome those.
Yep.
And
we've been
a
through
lot
them.
of the resources. Yeah, because we've been through them.
Man, and hitting the rock bottom on them too. I mean, your OG account. Let's talk violations real quick.
Yeah.
Your OG account, the one that made a good portion of all your income there. For the longest time, you were able to kind of slip by those violations, and this is part of those setbacks. I mean, you can post 120 videos and not see a single dollar.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, one video pops off, you see $100,000, and then a month down the road, that video gets violated, and you stop seeing money at all because your
Right.
number one producing video is gone because TikTok was like, we let it ride for long enough, but we've all of a sudden found a violation that we don't like, so we're going to go ahead and
Right.
take that video down. your big page ended up getting what, 18 points at one point, and
Yeah, and it gets a lot worse than that actually. So
right.
I luckily with me being an engineer, I'm always very analytical,
Sure.
and I'm always testing, I'm always trying, I'm always, people are like hide SEO keywords, I'm testing,
Right.
try hashtags, I'm testing like every single video, and I'm analyzing what each video is doing, and what each thing is kind of changing how that video performs, etc., etc. So luckily enough, I was smart enough to start 3 accounts
Mm-hmm.
when I started. And now it wasn't immediate. I made 6 grand on that first account. So in mid-February, or like February 24th, somewhere around in there, in between when I started and the end of February, I had started 2 more accounts. And I was told my wife, I was like, I've got this account going. I'm just going to go ahead and start posting to these other 2 accounts as well, so I can have 3 accounts that are maybe going to do the same or similar
Right.
to what I made today.
Instant rinse and repeat. See if you can at least replicate what you've done.
Yeah, and so at that time I hadn't really dealt with violations or knew how severe they were, but luckily I had started that strategy up front.
Right.
And to anyone that's reading or listening to this, please have more than one account. Like, you can post the same products, whatever you want to do, but please have more than one account, because that is one of the biggest challenges in my opinion.
Same products, not the same video.
Yeah.
Everything
and I have strategies around that too.
Yeah,
like
everything you post needs to be original.
So, and I have posting strategies around that, because right now I'm posting to 5 accounts 3 times a day. Okay, and that takes
a lot. That's 15 videos.
Yeah, and that takes me about 3.5 hours. So, and I'll share this tidbit with you guys, is that my posting strategy is that when I have a product that I want to go viral, I will post twice a day on that product. I'll post 3 times. The first one in the morning is usually my lowest views for me personally. That's going to be different for everybody, but my first video of the day is always low views. I'll post a random product, and then the last 2 videos of the day in the afternoon is when I typically get a little more views, and so I'll post the products that I want to go viral, and typically I'll post those for 2 to 3 weeks until they actually pick up consistently every single day. And so what I do is, when I had those 3 accounts, we'll tie this back into the violations. When I had those 3 accounts, I would take product A and film it on the first account. I would take product A, change my shirt, change the background in my house, refilm that same product. I may use the same hook. I may try a different hook. I'll use the same pain points and everything. And the call to action, I may use the same call to action, or I'll change it up. But essentially, that first product is already on my brain. Like, I've already filmed for the first account. So instead of just sitting there editing it, taking all the time on that first account, I'll just save it to drafts, switch to my other account while everything's fresh, change my shirt, film in a different part of the house. And then I'll do that for my third account, same product. So almost every single product is getting posted on all 3 of my accounts. I've never had any issues with that, as long as it's not literally a copy of the video re-uploaded to the same account. And so that's how I bust through posting 15 videos a day, is because I will literally, that product that I'm focusing on is fresh in my mind. I'm not sitting there stuttering or trying to figure out like what I'm trying to talk about. I'm not reading up on pain points. Like, I've already got all that figured out when I film my first video. And so
that's smart. It's all, like you said, it's all fresh in the mind. I've never thought about doing that.
Yeah, and so that's how I keep up, and I'm not working 10 hours a day.
Right.
So
now, posting times, do you spread them out? Obviously, throw them in the drafts, but and then all you do is go in and post. You just re-edit or do the quick edits and go in and post.
Yeah, so what I do is I'll film that first account, switch the account, draft that video, film it until I've gone through all my accounts. Then I'll just go back and edit and post real fast,
Yeah, because that doesn't take much time at all. It's 5 minutes.
Right. I mean, I can bust out a video, edit and post it in like 15 minutes now, just because I've gotten so good at it, know.
Right.
Now, at first, it wasn't like that. Obviously, it took me a little more time investment and stuff. But once you get good at it, and it's like muscle memory, you can edit and bust that thing out in like 15. Film it, edit, post it like 15, 20 minutes,
I did that today.
So
I made 3
yeah,
videos in like 30 minutes time.
yeah, exactly.
All post ready, draft ready, and everything.
Yeah, so I'll go through each account, I'll film them, have them sitting in drafts, and then I'll go back to the first account, edit, post it, go to the next one, edit, post it, etc.,
Yep.
etc. And so um, that's kind of what I've been doing. And then I have one account now that I'm getting away from health supplements on. I'm starting to work on more of like gizmo gadgets, electronics, just stuff that I like to enjoy and I think has value. And so that one's a little different because it's not going to be the same product as what I'm posting on the other three. But I'm just trying to, again, future-proof myself somewhat with health violations, and we all know how sensitive TikTok is with that. So that's kind of in my future-proofing plan. But going back to violations, so I had those three, right? Luckily, my strategies kind of worked to a T. I went viral on all three of those videos in March, and two of the accounts, my OG account, which was my big account, my very first one, did 67,000 in March, in profit. My other account, which was my backwards hat account, is what I call it. It did 67,000 in profit. They were literally within $100 to $200 of each other, almost identical.
Insane.
And then my third account was a little bit slower. It hadn't like picked up as much, but it had done like $10,000 in that
Right.
month. And so I had done almost $140,000 in March. And when you looked at Kalo data, I had an account at number 5 and I had an account at number 7.
Yep.
So I was literally taking up like 2 spots in the top 10 of all affiliates. And so
Yeah, I think that was funny. You and I were trending on there for I think almost the entire month of March.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
crazy.
And I think and even April and May I was on there as well. I did several months was just insane amounts of money.
Yeah.
And then my wife got in it by the end of March, and then May or April or so she had done like 50,000 on her account, and so we were just crushing it. And so then I started dealing with violations a ton. And my OG account that was doing 60 to 90,000 a month got hit with 18 points. So I just put it on ice. I didn't touch it. I let it sit until those violations were going to drop off.
Yeah.
And so did that. But then my other two accounts, the ones that were one had picked up, and I was promoting a product that apparently the product was violating terms of service, and it was affecting a ton of accounts.
Right.
Like a bunch of accounts got banned because of it. I lost that third account that was performing still crazily, but not as insane as my other ones. Lost it completely to community guideline violations. And so not even TikTok shop violations, just normal TikTok violations. Lost that, and about a week and a half later, lost my second one. So I lost all three accounts within 2 to 3 weeks to violations. Now my second one was still community guideline violations. I was getting dinged for things like drug use, and which made absolutely no sense.
Now, bear in mind, for anybody watching this, the drug use claims that or violations he was getting, a lot of the products that he promoted were supplement products: oil of oregano, vitamin D3K2, collagen peptides,
powdered stuff,
powdered stuff, yeah, things like that. So I mean, it was to the guideline side of things, to TikTok's wonderful AI. He was doing things that were illegal per platform guidelines, which were clearly not illegal. So just FYI there.
Yeah, so all I was doing was promoting a TikTok verified product that is allowed on the app.
And by the way, blue checkmark verified product on the TikTok shop.
Yeah. And I wasn't like it wasn't like I was putting collagen lines and just hitting them, I was using it like a normal individual, like so, I never once said anything about drugs or anything like that. So, it's just something AI associated and dinged me. But I lost two of those accounts that were performing, one over 70K a month, the other one, 20 or I would say 15 to 20. I can't remember now, but
that's enough to make someone want to quit. I mean, dead in their tracks.
But not only that, I had also couldn't post on my OG account either because I was at 18 out of 24 points there. And so I took 3 months off. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm making money. I've got money in the bank, even, and so those TikTok, the community guideline violations are a little more severe in my opinion because you're totally fine. You have no violation points, and then boom, all of a sudden your account is gone. You can't log into it. It's quite terrifying.
It
And
is.
so, luckily, I was able to get one community guideline violation removed from each account, and they restored my account just for me to get my money out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that was restored, I had like $35,000 sitting in earnings,
Yeah.
that I would have never gotten if I hadn't been able to get those restored.
Ever. Lost money.
Yeah,
100% lost money.
yeah, 100%. It would have just been gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so after that happened, I'm like, okay, these accounts are still active. I'm not going to post on them because I'm making money on them.
Right.
And for 3 months straight on all three accounts, I was doing over $1,500 to $2,500 a day
Without posting.
without posting
just,
anything.
Yeah, just back
Yeah.
in action.
Just residual income from
Yeah.
all my viral videos that I've had. I mean, I was getting 5+ million view videos every single month almost,
That's
on
insane.
each
Yeah.
account.
Yeah.
So I think my largest is like 16 million or
And I
something.
think the craziest thing about all that too is watching you replicate your viral videos over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just constantly going viral over and over
I
and
would
over
literally,
again.
once I went viral on one account, I would just replicate that video on a new account on my other, like one of the three accounts, and just watch it go viral. And
Yeah, it was insane. It used to make me so mad too. I'm like, how is this even working? But I realized too at that point, it was so consistent with you, and that was where I was lacking. I didn't have that consistency that you did, and it was just crazy. It's crazy watching that.
Yep. So I took a big hit. I took a big hit on. I was telling you earlier, like if I hadn't had to take those 3 months off because of violations, and I still can't post on two of those. So one of those, the shop violations, the points, they fell off after 90 days. I started posting to it. So I'm back to the grind on that account.
Yeah.
The other two accounts, though, I still have an account warning for community guideline violations. So one more strike and I'm out again on those accounts. They're still producing $300 to $500 a day.
Which is
And
insane. That's
so-
10 to 15 grand a month.
Yeah,
Like, that's
off
insane.
of an account that I haven't touched for almost 4 months now. So I am working on, I've got some connections now. I'm working on getting those community guideline violations off of there. So hopefully I can open those accounts back open because they are extremely warm for health supplements. I mean,
Yeah.
my OG account, anytime I post a health supplement, and now that it's been 90 days, I mean, they get a shit ton of views. So, I'm saying all that to say that, like, a lot of people are scared to post on TikTok Shop. They're scared to promote certain brands or products, and the reality is there's always going to be some kind of hurdle with anything you do in life, and TikTok Shop is no different.
Yep.
It's all about how you are able to process those issues and find solutions for those issues.
Yep.
And my solution through all of this has been grow more accounts.
Yep.
Have more accounts going. So I put those 3 accounts on ice. I did touch them, and I grew new accounts. And so now I have 4 TikTok Shop accounts and 1 personal branded account that I'm working on that I'm grinding every single day. So
That personal brand account too is going to be a big one because it's growing fast. And by the way, for those of y'all that are watching, any account that Josh is comfortable with sharing, we will include down at the bottom of this so that way you guys can go check them out for inspiration. And definitely that personal branded account because you guys can learn a lot from this guy. I mean, he posts very raw content on that personal branded account that's going to give some of you guys maybe a little bit of a reality check, but it might be that check that you need. It's kind of like me. I post very unfiltered and raw, slap in the face style content to make you realize, like, hey, this isn't easy. It's going to have its ups and downs. Yeah. I mean, he's made $500,000 in profit in 6 months, but 3 of those months he had to take a step back because it was
take a huge loss. I mean, a huge loss.
I mean, you could have been on your way to over $1 million in profit if those accounts didn't get lost. I mean,
yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that if I had those accounts posting on them every single day and not having to worry about those violations, I would be well over $1 million, and just by myself, not including the business, my wife, nothing. Like I'm sitting over 450 something thousand right now in profit just from me alone,
Right.
not including everything else that we have going on, and so
It's insane.
I have no doubt in my mind that if I would have been able to keep those and keep them going, and it's a little bit shame on me because in hindsight, I wish that I had started growing the new accounts sooner,
Right.
like as soon as I saw those. But my mental was really shot, and I just took a break. I'm like, I'm making money. I've got money in the bank. It's summertime. I want to go have fun with my family and kids and not have to stress about things. So I just took a break and let those accounts make me money. And I was still making more money than most people would see in a lifetime every single month off accounts I couldn't even post on.
Yep. While
So
having fun, doing what you wanted to do with the family, not having to bat an eye. It's crazy. Those 4 years of you busting your ass the way that you did really led up to where you're at today. Because I'm sure without any of that experience, you wouldn't be in the position that you're in today with TikTok Shop.
Oh, I would have melted down, dude, and I probably would have found another job. I probably would have been like right back to where I was before,
It's
working,
crazy.
working for someone else kind of thing. So
It's absolutely insane. I mean, if you guys take away anything from this, and this was probably one of the most real podcasts that I've had here, where I just sat back and listened to you because, man, there are so many people who are going through it, and just I posted 60 videos, I've done this, I've done that, and I'm not seeing
those
any
are the people
results.
that I feel for, know. And I don't want to interrupt you there, but
No, you're fine.
On that personal branded page that we talked about, I'm sharing some of my strategies, my tips, my tricks, and things, and a lot of it is mindset that I'm sharing too, like things that I personally struggled with and still struggle with today, and the majority of the comments that I'm getting right now are, "Thank you so much because I've been doing this for over a month now and I've made $5. I've been doing this for 3 months now and I've made no money." And I don't know if I've had people say, "I don't know if I can mentally keep up with this at the rate I'm going, but I needed to hear what you had to say today." And so that's why that account is growing so fast, is because
It's real.
And I told him, I said, I came from somewhere where I had so much debt I couldn't breathe.
Yep.
I had times where I couldn't make my mortgage payment, I couldn't make my vehicle payments, I couldn't, and as the provider and as someone who didn't want that for my entire life, even though I was making six figures, I don't know how other people are doing it, and I told my followers, I was like, this page will always be me remembering where I came from and the struggles that I went through, and I hope that I never get to that point where I don't remember those pain points, because if I can just encourage one person at the end of the day on that account to keep pushing and to keep going, then all the time and effort to me is worth it.
Yep.
And this is coming from someone that grew up in very, very poor standards, and I had a parent that was in prison all of my childhood, and the other parent that was strung out 90% of the time, and my aunt and uncle who adopted me, she's the one that had the car wreck.
Right.
They stepped in and saved my life, literally. And so I've literally should be a statistic at this point. Like there's no reason other than that motivation to not end up like my childhood.
Right.
Is the only reason that I have come this far. And so, a lot of people don't, when they're seeing my success and stuff, they assume that I've always had that success around me, but I never have. Never, not once. I mean, we never stayed in a school for more than 6 to 12 months. We just couldn't, because we couldn't we couldn't keep a place long enough, and so there was it was bad, it was abusive parenthood. It was rough, and so I if I can just encourage someone to keep going and to not give up and to know that their breakthrough is right around the corner, like that breakthrough is right there, and it comes down to, like, are you going to close the door right before you see it, or are you going to keep pushing? You know what I mean? And so if I can encourage someone to keep going, then it's all worth it, in my opinion. That the time and effort that I'm putting into those videos, it's all worth it.
There's a photo I show often, and the reason I show it, is because it really does boil down to this. So I'm about to pop this up real quick. Hold on. There's a photo of a guy digging for diamonds, and right above him is another guy digging for the same diamonds. And I show this all the time because don't stop. Just because you feel as if you're being defeated, look how close you are. You know,
Right.
at the end of the day, look how close you are to those diamonds. This guy right here is on the same path as you, but guess what? He's probably going to be the one that reaches them before you did because you gave up right before that door was even held open for you.
Right.
A lot of the times, people forget that a lot of us are working towards the same common goal. But the difference between the guy next to you is you have to be the one with the determination. You have to be the one that has the know, or that needs to understand that if you don't give up and you have that same level of consistency all the way throughout, you'll eventually get there. You spent 4 years trying everything you possibly could. I spent 6
Right.
more than you, right? I did it for 10 years. Ever since I was 18 years old, I tried to find a way to make it work. But I didn't give up. You did it for 4 years. But the thing is, you didn't give up. Regardless of the difference in time that we both had, neither one of us stopped because
Right.
we didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We both knew that there was a better way and that there was something on the other side as long as we kept going, because not only did it work for thousands of others around us, it worked for people that shouldn't have worked for, in my eyes at least. And that's what kept me going. Is
And
seeing,
that's me, you know.
man, I saw the undeserving get to that point. But
Right.
the difference was they just didn't stop. That's how they got there. Regardless if they deserved it or not, they just didn't stop. I knew at
Right.
the end of the day that I was destined for something better and that I could achieve those things, but I just couldn't stop. But I always let my mind get the best of me, and I let my emotions get in the way most of the time. But I show that photo often because at the end of the day, if you give up now, guess what? You don't know if that next video was going to go viral. You don't know if that next video was going to make you $1,000. Hell, you don't know if the next 5 videos you posted were going to make you $100,000 because guess what?
Right.
You just didn't do it. You
Yep.
know?
Yeah, and I've seen that time and time again.
Yep.
You know, I've helped not only my models but also people around me that you know, like Be Perky and everybody. Like I've helped them get started on TikTok Shop, like learn the ways, learn how to do this, and I've also helped people that gave up. You know, and I invested time and energy into them, and then they give up before, you know, when it gets rough. But the people, every single person that I've helped along the way that has not lost that mental battle and overcame that mental battle has made insanely stupid money. You know,
And money they never
and-
thought was even feasible for them to make.
Yeah, I mean, job quitting money.
It doesn't feel real. It almost feels
Yeah.
illegal in a way to be earning
Oh,
as
you know
much
how
money
many
as we
people
make.
are commenting right now telling me you haven't done that, you don't make that, you're an idiot. You know, I get those comments daily.
I do all
and
the
I
time,
love
man.
them because it's
great.
like,
Yeah.
because again, it reminds me like I was there. I had that mindset at some point. There's no way you can make that kind of money doing this, you know. And so it's always fun to engage those types of comments because it just reminds me, like, again, where I came from.
That's why I like going live. I used to do it live. I would show them exactly, hey, this is my back office. Let me refresh the page a couple of times for you. And it's not me
Right.
being a dick. It's just me humbling the individual who thinks that what we're doing is impossible.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's, you know, like I said, I think if people can get through that mental battle and keep showing up and posting and quit overthinking your content and quit over perfectionalizing every single thing and just post, like, you know, in that group, a lot of people are asking me, you know, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I go get an expensive camera? Should I do this? And I'm like, you're overthinking your content. Just start posting.
Yep, just
You know
post.
what I mean?
That's literally
Even
it.
to the people that don't have 5,000 followers and you're not TikTok Shop eligible, start posting. You as a person are unique. You are unique, so you will reach an audience that me and Bryce can never reach. And that audience is waiting for you to get started and for you to make content so that they can actually start utilizing and purchasing from you. So, you know, a lot of people are, and like you said, I deal with that as well, like imposter syndrome.
Oh
I deal
my
with
God,
it.
yes.
I deal with it every single day, and it's like I'm a nobody that grew up with nothing from the middle of Georgia.
Yeah.
and my last name is literally Farmer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't be here
Yeah.
in this position. Even outside of TikTok Shop, like the success that I've seen in my careers and stuff like that, like I shouldn't be here.
I
You know,
feel that.
and I dealt with that. I deal with that constantly, even
Mm,
before today. And I knew that we wanted to do this podcast. I was like, do I really have anything to offer these people? Like, why? You know, I'm just Josh Farmer. Like I'm
yep.
no one. You know what I mean? And so that mentality is very hard to overcome, and
That's
I want to be able to tell people like there is a way out. There is freedom, you know, and there's money to be made online, even if it's not through TikTok Shop. Like put TikTok Shop aside, there's always going to be something.
you
You
just gotta
just have
find it.
to you just have to find it, and you
Yep.
have to have the mindset to keep on, you know, pushing forward to it, and that's kind of what I'm hoping that people can get from that channel is if a nobody like me can do this, you can do this, you know.
Yep.
So
I tell people all the time, I'm in the same boat as you there. Like I didn't finish high school. There's nothing special about me. I was a delinquent pothead that probably would end up in the streets or in the gutter somewhere, but I moved away from my environment, found something different, pursued a career that I thought was going to be my forever, and decided I found something else along a very untraveled road, and turned out to be something great. So I mean, it happens. It's the imposter syndrome that was real, man.
well, it's
That's
bad.
so real. I hate it so much sometimes because I look, I'm like, why the hell do y'all listen to me?
Yeah.
Why do you pay attention to me? What is so special about me? And then
Yep.
I go back and look, and I've built a page with over 80,000 people who want to watch my videos. I have a community of close to 3,000 individuals who want to hear what I have to say. Why? But then I take a step back and realize, hold on, I've been able to relate to all these individuals in one way or another. And
Right.
relatability is huge. Like you said, you're unique in your own way, and there's an audience out there waiting to hear what you have to say. And it's not because of you, but it's because you relate to their situation. You relate to what they're going through. And
Right.
that's the biggest thing is finding that common ground and that relatability. People will follow. People will want to see like, oh my God, that guy's just like me. And he was able to escape what I'm going through right now. That means there's hope. And I
Right.
don't want to get all sappy on anything like that, but I mean that's really what it boils down to is finding that hope within because a lot of people lose that. I did.
Yeah.
I lost it a long time ago, and I went down through a dark path, dark hole, and I've been in places where I'm surprised I even made it back from.
Right.
But it's one of those things that what kept me going is I had a big enough why to my want, and it's all the mouths I got out there, and it's not just
Yeah.
because I got to feed them, but it's because they look up to me.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And I had a drive to make sure my kids never experience what I went through.
Me too. I
And that's
moved.
the biggest motivator behind everything I've done, you know.
I agree.
And that hasn't changed to this day.
Yep.
And that it never will. It'll always be that. That will always be the pushing factor behind why I want to be successful and you know and then put all that aside too is like I'm able to now touch other people's lives
Yeah.
in financial ways and I have I've helped other people that didn't know how they were going to have a meal later that day and I'm able to pour in to other people and bless people that I feel led to bless and things like that. So it's not only like what how it's changed my life, but I'm also now able to affect other people's lives in a positive way. And now I'm actually growing a page to do that, and I sometimes I regret for not starting those pages earlier when I saw success, but that imposter syndrome, I just felt like I didn't really have anything to offer.
Yep. I feel
Um,
that.
but
But
luckily, my wife is like, You're one of the most that have something to offer. You just
right.
don't realize it. So,
My wife says the same thing all the time, and
yeah,
it's like, you know what? Stop it! Stop telling me that. Stop it. But it's good to hear, man. It really is because it's reassuring, especially from the ones that you love. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you lose that love for yourself.
yeah,
Just isn't
absolutely.
there. Really, just isn't there sometimes. Well, Josh, I think this will conclude today. I don't want to go too much further because you and I could probably talk about this for hours on end.
Yep.
And maybe we'll get you back on here and go a little bit more in depth about some of the other things that we didn't touch too much on today. But I think this couldn't have been a better podcast. I mean, this went in a direction that I really didn't expect it to go in. But at the end of the day, I'm glad it went in that direction because I think this episode here is going to be one of the most felt episodes when it comes to relating, because at the end of the day we're a couple of people who really just didn't know where we were at outside of having these on paper good careers, at the end of the day, just because you have that doesn't mean your life's fulfilling.
Absolutely.
And being able to claim that time freedom and the financial freedom back to really do what you want to do with you and your family is huge. And it's incredible, being able to achieve it in such a short amount of time. I mean, I absolutely love doing these interviews, and I appreciate you for being on here today, because hopefully your message and the things that you've gone through can resonate really, really deep with some of the audience and some of the people who view this. And, if this is your first time viewing one of these things and you've never heard of TikTok Shop, or this is the first thing you've ever seen in regard to this, give Josh a follow on his personal page. We'll include that down below. He's going to continue to post that style of content and to really try to help bridge that gap for you guys, so that way you can relate to somebody and understand that it is possible.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, you can learn all the strategies and everything that you want to, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the mindset, and people surrounding you that are pushing you and encouraging you, and you don't have that drive, I don't think the best strategies out there are going to help.
No.
Personally,
got to surround yourself with the individuals that are achieving the success that you want to achieve. You have to.
Yep. Yeah, we got to correct your mindset first, and then once you get that mindset up, you'll see success. So
1000%.
That's what I'm hoping to do. Yep.
Well, that's awesome. Josh, I appreciate you again, man. You guys, if you want to join the Social Army, I know we didn't talk a whole lot about that, but Social Army is a community that teaches you A to Z on everything you need to know about TikTok Shop related. We have case studies from several other successful affiliates. You have people like Josh in there. You have people like me and multiple other creators of our level of success that are in there that are more than happy to lend a helping hand. If you want to join the community, there will be a link down below. That link will directly go. It essentially be Josh's link. So if you guys want to sign up, we'll be supporting him in that sense. But again, I appreciate you guys all for being here today. Josh, thanks again for being on. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. See you on the next one.
See you guys.